Hey, good day. Paul Sterling here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the coaching that I do. If love was enough, relationships would be easy. And most relationships don't end because of a lack of love. That would be an easy ending. They end because the couples don't know how to stop their painful patterns of hurting each other and heal the past. And there's one thing that a lot of couples don't realize or don't know, and that is if you don't agree on the problem, you'll never agree on the solution. And a lot of times they start by thinking that other person is the problem versus it's the system that they're using. So today we're going to look at how do you um, stop arguing about the symptoms and start dealing with the real issues. And when I've surveyed hundreds and hundreds of clients, and the five most pressing problems that they come up with, number one, 92% of the people said it was a communication problem in their relationships. And that led to all these other problems 78% intimacy gone or losing intimacy, their sex life's disappearing, vanishing, trust is broken, broken agreements, the conflicts get recycled, they don't get resolved, and they're on the edge of divorce. And almost every relationship problem starts as a communication problem. So I want to show you this little puzzle, and then we're going to dive into how we do this. This is a little jigsaw puzzle for our grandson. And if you look at it, it's actually pretty complex how to fit all those pieces together into one piece. And it's complex until you get this. You get a picture of where all the parts go. And once you get a picture of where all the parts go, then a 3-year-old can put it together. As you can see here, once he knew where the parts went, he took a break from playing with his trucks and put together the pieces. So I want to give you the picture, at least where a lot of the parts go, the parts to help you resolve issues and bring back that loving feeling. And one of the number one issues, like I already said, is communication. And this couple came to me. They really loved each other and they had tried almost everything. They'd gone to workshops, read books, listened to podcasts, had therapy and coaching, and they were desperate for better communication. It felt like cats and dogs. And they lived together and worked together and really loved each other. And the harder they try, the worse it got because it felt like communication was driving a wedge between them. And what did they want? They wanted communication to get easier and build a bridge between them. And so we put together, well, I put together over the last 25, almost 30 years, um, a communication process that starts with stop doing the damage. And there's 5 trigger traps, I call them, communication ways of being that when you do these you're almost guaranteed to trigger your partner. And that's why I wrote the book Argue Less, Love More. The next one is learning how to talk to each other so they want to listen and listen so they want to open up and talk and be honest and vulnerable. There's times when you're saying, well, tell me, and there's no way they're going to tell you because it doesn't feel safe. So it's how do you bring safety back into your communication? And that first module when I work with couples is the heart to heart communication module. And when you start communicating heart to heart, what ends up happening is it can transform the relationship. So they went from feeling like cats and dogs. And when I gave them the tools and believed in them, they're now happily married today. And they invited me, actually. This picture was at their wedding weekend in Arizona at a hot springs. They rented the whole hot springs for the weekend and had people fly in from all around the country. It was an amazing celebration. They asked me to fly in and help facilitate the wedding. So Melody and Ian, amazing couple. This next couple I'm going to tell you about. Um, oh, by the way, at the end of that, you get best friend communication. That's the idea of that module. This next couple is Todd and Aura, and he's a airline pilot. And when they came to me, um, Aura and I came to Paul in a relationship Mayday. There was no shortage of love. We just didn't have the skills we were begging for and did not know it. And I'm going to tell you, even though his story is amazing, I'm going to tell you a story about how he took the tools that he was learning for his relationship and applied it in midair on a 777. Because when those have problems and they've got to do an unscheduled landing, it can cost the company anywhere from 50,000 on a cheap one to 600,000 depending upon the reason for the stop. And they had an upset customer and there had been a breach of trust and the customer was freaking out and they were going to have to do an unscheduled landing. And Todd applied the tools I taught him and was able to rebuild the trust midair. So what do couples do when trust is broken? There's a bunch of tools. But what they want is weatherproof trust. So no matter how rough the weather is outside, they feel trust and safe inside the relationship. And part of that is for people to identify what are the four different types there, and there are four very distinctly different types of trust, to know what those are. And the three-step repair method, because once you've broken trust, and sometimes you break trust and it's obvious. There's a broken agreement, there's an affair. A lot of times trust is broken because there was unconscious and unspoken agreements that weren't kept, and that's a breach of trust. And what do you do to repair them? And then the third part of the process is we get to practice rebuilding trust. So you really get to put in the time and energy to weatherproof your weatherproof the trust in your relationship. And that becomes the weatherproofing trust repair module. So module 1 is about heart-to-heart communication. Module 2 is about weatherproofing your trust. And you end up with trust, safety, and certainty. And then this third one I'm going to tell you about, and this picture is, it's a picture. It's not the actual people, but it represents them well. I was working with this couple and their 13-year-old daughter was having a lot of problems. And so I met with her and her dad. And one of the things that her mom said was our daughter was struggling through some really tough growing pains, and we weren't sure how to help her find her way. And we worked together. And what got clear to me is she was like all of us. She felt like her needs didn't matter. Her needs weren't important enough. And when you feel like your needs matter, when you feel like your needs don't matter, you feel like you don't matter. And so the thing we needed to do is get her to the place where she felt like her needs matter, so she mattered. And what the mom said after we worked together with her is Paul provided exactly what she needed: a safe space, genuine understanding, and practical tools that have made a real difference in her life. And what I actually did was create a safe space for her and her dad, because her dad is the one that she needed to know that her needs mattered to her father. And when her father had a safe space to really listen, like the heart to heart module, listen so that his daughter wanted to open up and speak vulnerably. When that happened, that transformed their relationship. And what supported and benefited us most was watching our daughter transform from feeling overwhelmed and unseen to becoming more centered and confident. The strategies Paul taught her were tools she actually uses in her everyday life. And when she saw that it worked with her dad, she used the same tools with her friends. So that was an amazing thing to watch. Because when I feel like my needs matter, when you feel like your needs matter, you feel like you matter. And if you think about it, every relationship's actually made up of three relationships. The first relationship is a friendship, and you need to notice, name, and negotiate your needs as a friend. And at the end of that, what a friendship is about I like you. I want to be around you. I appreciate you. The next one is partnership. So you're in a friendship, a partnership, a lovership. Partners trust you. You feel like I've got your back, you've got my back, and if you're able to notice, name, and negotiate those needs. And the third one which is like the canary in the coal mine is lovership. Because in long-term relationships, friendship and partnership tend to stay longer and lovership tends to get neglected. We'll do it some other time. We'll have intimacy. And that third need is I desire you and to feel desired. So what we want to do is get all three sets of needs met. And a lot of it in our culture, a lot of times there's need shame. And what we want to do is get rid of this need shame and know that our needs matter. This is a chance for you to make friends with your needs in this module. So those are the three modules. And if you look at it, those are the foundational building blocks for creating a relationship. And they're called the argue less, love more method. So if you're ready, let's talk about it and see how this can work for you. Well, see if and how it can work for you. All right. I will talk to you later. Have an awesome day.